Imagine for a moment that you have the opportunity to ask one question, just one, that could change the entire course of your life. A question that unlocks a new perspective, a fresh wave of motivation, or clarity where you've only seen confusion. What would that question be? Think about the challenges you're facing right now, the dreams you're chasing but haven't yet reached, the fears holding you back, and the doubts clouding your mind. If you could strip away all the noise, all the distractions, and get a single piece of advice tailored exactly for you, how would your life change? Many of us spend years searching for answers in books, seminars, podcasts, and endless scrolling through social media, hoping that somewhere buried in all that content lies the secret we need. But the truth is, the most powerful insights often come from asking the right questions, the kind that make us stop, reflect, and take action. What if you didn't have to look far? What if all it took was the courage to ask that one burning question, the one you're afraid to voice out loud, the one that could shift your mindset and open doors you didn't know existed? The pressure to figure everything out can be overwhelming. We want quick fixes, silver bullets, and easy formulas for success and happiness, but life doesn't work that way. Real growth happens in the moments when we get uncomfortable, when we dig deep, and when we're willing to challenge our own beliefs. What if the key wasn't just in finding an answer, but in how that question forces you to rethink your approach, your habits, and your limits? Now imagine holding that question in your hands. What would it be? What's stopping you from asking it today? Because sometimes the first step toward transformation is simply daring to ask and then being ready to listen. There's a unique kind of power in a single question, not just any question, but the one question that cuts through all the clutter, all the noise, and all the confusion swirling around your mind. It's the question that sparks a shift, a new way of seeing yourself and the world, a fresh perspective that makes everything click into place. We all face moments where we want guidance, clarity, or a breakthrough, and yet knowing what to ask is often the hardest part. What if you could distill all the advice, all the lessons, and all the wisdom you've ever received into just one question that truly matters? How different would your life look if you had that? We live in a time when information is everywhere. Books, podcasts, videos, social media, it's all at our fingertips. Yet despite having access to so much knowledge, many of us still feel stuck. We wrestle with doubt, uncertainty, and frustration because knowing what to do and actually doing it are worlds apart. Sometimes the overload of advice becomes paralyzing rather than freeing. That's why the power of one meaningful question is so profound. It can serve as a compass in the chaos, guiding your attention and energy toward what truly matters. The truth is, transformation doesn't come from finding a perfect answer handed to you on a silver platter. It comes from the willingness to explore the right questions deeply, honestly, and courageously. When you ask yourself the right question, it forces you to reflect on your values, your goals, and the barriers standing in your way. It creates space for awareness, and with awareness comes choice. You begin to see patterns and possibilities that were invisible before. The process of questioning helps you move from feeling stuck to feeling empowered, from confusion to clarity. This approach works because it shifts the focus from external solutions to internal discovery. Instead of searching for quick fixes or magic formulas, you learn to trust your intuition and develop a mindset that embraces growth and resilience. The one question you ask yourself becomes a daily checkpoint, a reminder of what you truly want and what you're willing to do to get there. It helps you cut through distractions and align your actions with your highest priorities. Imagine if you took this idea seriously. What question would you ask yourself today if you knew it could change everything? What if, by committing to that question, you started a ripple effect of new thoughts, new habits, and new results? The journey toward meaningful change often begins not with knowing all the answers, but with daring to ask the questions that move you forward. And sometimes the single best question is the one you haven't asked yet. One of the biggest challenges many people face today is feeling overwhelmed by the sheer volume of advice, information, and options available. Everywhere you turn, there are countless voices offering tips on how to improve your life, achieve success, and find happiness. It can feel like a never-ending flood of ideas, strategies, and opinions that leave you more confused than empowered. When faced with so many choices, it's easy to feel stuck, unsure of where to start or what to trust. This information overload can lead to decision paralysis, where you want to move forward but end up frozen because you don't know which path to take. Another challenge is the struggle to bridge the gap between knowing and doing. Many people learn about habits, mindset shifts, and productivity hacks, but the difficult part is applying those lessons consistently. Motivation can fade, old patterns creep back in, and the initial excitement wears off. It's not uncommon to start with enthusiasm only to find yourself back in the same place months later, wondering why progress feels so elusive. This gap between intention and action can be incredibly frustrating and demoralizing. Additionally, self-doubt and fear play significant roles in holding people back from making meaningful changes. The internal dialogue that questions your worthiness, your abilities, or the likelihood of success can be loud and convincing. These fears create mental barriers that keep you trapped in comfort zones, even when those zones no longer serve your growth or happiness. Overcoming these fears requires more than just positive thinking. It demands a deeper shift in how you see yourself and your potential. On top of that, many people struggle with clarity without a clear vision of what they truly want. It's difficult to set goals or create a plan that feels authentic and motivating. Sometimes societal pressures or external expectations cloud your judgment, making it hard to distinguish your genuine desires from what others think you should do. This lack of clarity can leave you wandering aimlessly, following paths that don't resonate with your true self. Lastly, consistency is a major obstacle. Even when you have clarity and motivation, maintaining momentum over time is challenging. Life's unpredictability, unexpected setbacks, changing circumstances, or emotional ups and downs can derail progress. Building lasting change requires resilience and the ability to adapt, yet many people find themselves discouraged after the first hurdle. Together, these challenges create a complex web that can make personal growth feel daunting or even impossible. The solution isn't about finding more advice or better hacks. It's about cutting through the noise, addressing the real obstacles, and finding a way to move forward that feels sustainable and true to who you are. Recognizing these challenges is the first step toward breaking free and creating meaningful transformation. When faced with the challenges of overwhelm, doubt, and inconsistency, the first step toward meaningful change is to shift the way we approach our questions. Instead of searching endlessly for answers outside ourselves, we begin by asking deeper, more purposeful questions that lead to clarity and action. These questions serve as a guiding light, helping us prioritize what truly matters and cutting through the noise that often clouds our judgment. But one powerful approach is to focus on questions that invite reflection on habits and mindset. For example, asking, what small change can I make today that will move me closer to my goals? Encourages you to break down big, intimidating ambitions into manageable steps. This reframes progress from overwhelming leaps to consistent, achievable actions. It's often the small, daily habits that create the foundation for lasting success. Yet these are easy to overlook when we focus solely on end results. Another important area to explore is the nature of motivation and resilience. Questions like, how can I stay motivated when things get tough? Or what strengths have helped me overcome challenges in the past? Shift your focus from external circumstances to internal resources. By identifying your personal strengths and remembering past successes, you cultivate confidence and build a mental toolkit that prepares you for future obstacles. This approach acknowledges that setbacks are inevitable, but also highlights your ability to bounce back. Addressing fear and self-doubt is critical in this journey. Asking, what fears are holding me back? Or what's the worst that could happen if I take this step? Helps bring hidden anxieties to light and reduces their power. Sometimes just naming a fear diminishes its grip and opens up space for courageous action. Additionally, reframing failure as a learning experience rather than a final verdict encourages experimentation and growth, making it easier to take risks and move forward. Clarity can also be developed through introspective questions such as, what do I truly want beyond others' expectations? And what would make me feel fulfilled and excited about my life? These questions push you to connect with your authentic desires and values, which in turn makes goal setting more meaningful and motivating. When your actions align with your core values, you're more likely to stay committed and find satisfaction along the way. Finally, sustaining progress over time requires regular check-ins and accountability. Questions like, what is working well and what needs adjustment, or how can I celebrate my progress today, help maintain momentum and keep you engaged. Recognizing even small wins fuels motivation and reinforces positive habits, making it easier to navigate setbacks without losing sight of your vision. By exploring these questions and incorporating their answers into daily practice, you create a personalized roadmap for growth. This process moves beyond passive learning and transforms insight into intentional action, ultimately leading to lasting change. There comes a pivotal moment in every journey of personal growth where everything shifts. The moment when insight turns into action, when awareness ignites determination, and when hesitation gives way to courage. This is the climax, the key turning point where the theoretical becomes practical and the possibility of transformation becomes real. It's not a grand cinematic event, but often a quiet internal decision, the moment you choose to step forward despite uncertainty, fear, or discomfort. This key moment is powerful because it represents a fundamental truth. No matter how much knowledge or advice you gather, lasting change only happens when you take ownership of your journey. It's the realization that waiting for the perfect answer or the perfect time will only keep you stuck. Instead, the power lies in your willingness to act, to experiment, and to learn from whatever unfolds. This is where the abstract questions you've been asking finally find their purpose. In this moment, you might ask yourself, what am I willing to do differently starting today? This question demands honesty and commitment. It challenges you to move beyond simply thinking about change to actually doing something tangible, even if it's small, because small steps taken consistently create momentum. This momentum builds confidence and reinforces your belief that change is possible, even when the path ahead feels uncertain. The key moment also reveals the importance of mindset, the way you choose to interpret challenges, setbacks, and successes. You realize that obstacles are not permanent roadblocks, but opportunities for growth. Instead of seeing failure as something to fear, you begin to view it as valuable feedback, a necessary part of the learning process. This shift in perspective transforms how you approach difficulties and makes resilience a natural part of your journey. Moreover, this turning point is about aligning your actions with your deepest values and desires. It's the moment when you stop pursuing goals because you should or because of external expectations and start moving toward what truly matters to you. This alignment brings clarity, motivation, and fulfillment, making the effort feel worthwhile even during tough times. Ultimately, the climax is a personal breakthrough, an awakening to your own power to shape your life. It's not about waiting for external validation or miraculous answers, but recognizing that the most profound transformation happens when you decide to take responsibility for your choices and your future. This realization is liberating and empowering, setting the stage for sustained growth and meaningful change. This key moment may come unexpectedly, or it may be the result of deliberate reflection and preparation. Either way, once you embrace it, you cross a threshold from possibility into reality, from dreaming into doing. And that is where true transformation begins. At the heart of any meaningful change lies a simple truth. Transformation begins with a question, not just any question, but one that challenges you to look inward, to reflect deeply, and to take intentional action. Throughout this journey, you've seen how the right question can cut through confusion, overcome fear, and create clarity. It's not about finding a magic formula or waiting for the perfect moment. It's about committing to the process of growth. and being willing to ask, what can I do differently today to move forward? We explored the common challenges that hold people back: overwhelm, self-doubt, lack of clarity, and inconsistency. These obstacles can feel insurmountable, especially when advice and motivation are coming at you from all directions. But when you focus on asking purposeful questions, those challenges start to unravel. They become manageable because you're no longer reacting to every external noise, but tuning into your own priorities and values. This shift in perspective is crucial for sustainable progress. The journey also revealed how powerful it is to connect your actions with your authentic desires rather than external expectations. When your goals are aligned with what truly matters to you, motivation comes naturally and resilience follows. You learn to see setbacks not as failures, but as feedback, valuable information that helps you adjust your course and grow stronger. This mindset transforms obstacles into stepping stones and keeps you moving even when the path gets tough. Most importantly, change happens when knowledge moves into action. Having insights or inspiration means little unless it leads to concrete steps taken consistently. The moment you decide to act, to take ownership of your growth, is the true turning point. It's where potential becomes reality and dreams begin to unfold. That choice to move forward despite fear or uncertainty is what separates those who grow from those who remain stuck. In summary, the key to unlocking your potential isn't about having all the answers handed to you. It's about daring to ask the right questions, reflecting honestly, and committing to change through action. It's about creating a cycle of continuous growth where each question leads to new understanding and every step forward builds momentum. Remember, the power to transform your life is already within you. It starts with one question and the willingness to seek your own answers. When you embrace that process, you open the door to endless possibilities and a future shaped by your own choices. The path to lasting change is yours to create. One intentional question, one deliberate action at a time. Now that you've explored the power of asking the right question and how it can spark meaningful change, it's time to take the next step. Growth and transformation don't happen by accident. They require intention and action. So, what will your next move be? What is the one question you've been holding back that could open new doors for you? Take a moment to identify that question and write it down. Make it clear, personal, and meaningful. This is not just an exercise in thought, but the foundation for your next breakthrough. Once you've identified your question, commit to revisiting it regularly. Use it as a lens through which to evaluate your decisions, your habits, and your mindset. Let it guide your daily choices and help you focus your energy where it matters most. When you face challenges, return to that question to remind yourself why you started and what you're working toward. This practice builds clarity and keeps you aligned with your deeper purpose. Next, translate your question into action. Reflect on what small steps you can take today that respond to that question. Remember, transformation doesn't require giant leaps all at once. It thrives on consistent, intentional progress. Whether it's a new habit, a mindset shift, or a decision to let go of something that no longer serves you, start now. Taking even one small step builds momentum and strengthens your confidence. Celebrate each victory, no matter how small, because progress fuels motivation. Accountability can also accelerate your growth. Share your question and your action plan with someone you trust, a friend, mentor, or community who could support you and hold you accountable. Having someone to encourage you and remind you of your commitment can make a significant difference when motivation wanes or obstacles arise. Don't underestimate the power of connection in your journey. Finally, embrace curiosity and patience. Growth is not always linear and setbacks are part of the process. When things don't go as planned, use your question as a compass to reorient yourself rather than a reason to give up. Stay open to learning, adjusting, and evolving. Each step forward, each new insight brings you closer to the life you want to create. The invitation is simple but profound. Ask the question that matters. Take action on what you discover. Keep moving forward one deliberate step at a time. Your transformation begins now. Will you take that first step?